Okay, so today we are starting to assemble the cabinets. I've got 5 full height pantry cabinets and 2 base cabinets. Devin's gonna be helping me today. Harvey's at daycare, so hopefully we can make a good push and get a bunch of these knocked out today. Okay, so we got 1 cabinet successfully assembled. It took us a while to figure it out, but I think we have a good grasp on it now. I'm double fisting coffee and a energy drink. Devin just ran to Chick-fil-A to get us some lunch. I'm gonna get a head start while he's gone. Okay, so we've got a back panel. Someday, I'm gonna buy cabinets that are already assembled. That's when I know I've made it. But it's a good way to save some money. Now I can spend that money somewhere else. So here I've got the face frame of the cabinet that goes down first. I'll wait until Devin gets back to glue all this stuff. So I'm gonna switch gears and work on putting hinges on the doors. I like to sort all my screws to make things go a little smoother. Okay, so all the cabinets are assembled and I just set them in place so I can get a better visual and talk you guys through a few things. When you're ordering cabinets, there's so much more to consider than just the cabinet boxes. You have to consider what's going on the sides of the cabinets and at the top and at the bottom. So I'm going to walk you through my cabinet order basically and talk about all the little extra things that you need to consider. Let's start with this area right here. I have my 2 full height cabinet boxes. I'm going to show you the sides of the cabinet because they're unfinished. So starting there, I had to order a finished panel piece to glue to the sides of the cabinets that are showing. So on this side and on this side, I'll have to secure a finished panel piece, and that is that big panel that I showed you over here. So for me, this came in a 42 by 96 inch sheet, and I think it's about a 1/4 inch thick. Other cabinet companies may do it differently, but I'll have to, after I install the cabinets, cut that panel piece down and then glue it to the sides of the cabinet. Another thing is where the cabinet meets the back wall, it is likely not going to look perfect. There's probably going to be some gaps. So that's where I will use this really small scribe molding. So I have one for the back of this cabinet and one for the back of this cabinet where it meets the wall. So that takes care of the sides of the cabinets. I don't need to install a filler piece or anything in between the cabinets, so I'm good there. At the bottom of the cabinets, they're also unfinished. I don't think you can really see it, but the bottom of the cabinets are unfinished, so I have to install a toe kick. With my cabinets, I ordered a 8-foot toe kick panel. It's a 1/4 inch thick, and I'll just cut it down to size and then nail that to the bottom of my cabinets. For the top of the cabinets, you could just leave it unfinished if that's the look that you're going for. I wanted to make it look a little more high-end, so I'm adding some crown molding. I got crown molding to match my cabinets exactly, but if you're planning to paint your cabinets or stain them, you could just get some stock crown molding at the home improvement store and then paint it or stain it to match your cabinets. So that takes care of the sides and the bottom and the top of the cabinets. One more thing with the top, with the crown molding, I'm gonna have to install some blocking to secure my crown molding to, but that is something I can just pick up at the home improvement store. So that takes care of this section. Let's talk about the washer and dryer if you're going to be working on any cabinets in the laundry room. Let me move you guys over there. Okay, so I'm going to install countertops over the washer and dryer and also over these 2 base cabinets. Unfortunately, they're not all the same height, so I'm going to have to do a separate countertop over the washer dryer and then a dropped countertop over these 2 base cabinets. You could raise your base cabinets and install them on a little base to make everything the same height, but if you have a sink like we're going to have next to the washer and dryer, it raises that sink and it makes it kind of awkward to reach in. It's kind of an awkward height. So I'm gonna keep the base cabinets the way they are, and that way I don't also have to mess with the toe kick. So keeping that the same, but for the countertop over the washer and dryer, I'm going to need to add some support there. So I'll add a 3/4 inch filler piece on each end of the washer and dryer and also in the middle. With those filler pieces, you're going to see the end of it here and the end of it on this side. So that's where I'm going to use some of that extra 1/4 inch paneling to glue on the outside, so that is what you see versus unfinished wood. I could have ordered a 3/4 inch like finished shelf panel to go on the outsides and in the middle from the cabinet company, but it's just a lot more expensive. So I'm just going to use some 3/4 inch plywood from Home Depot or Lowe's and then finish off the ends that you will see. You're also going to see the face of those panels. So I could just buy some extra 1x2 boards and try to stain them to match these cabinets. So that'll add some good support for my countertops. I'm also going to add a cleat on the back wall to give my countertop some extra support there. Moving on to these two base cabinets. This is a 30-inch sink base, and this is a false drawer front. And then I've got a cabinet here. I'm gonna be doing a countertop over this, and nothing really special needs to happen over here except for the toe kick at the bottom of the cabinets. And then I also need to add a filler piece where this cabinet hits the wall. If your cabinet is flat against the wall, you may not be able to open your drawers, especially with any trim pieces. I've got the door trim here, so this drawer would hit that trim piece. So that's why I ordered this short filler piece. I can rip this down to whatever width I need. That's gonna go against the wall, so I have a little bit of wiggle room there for my drawers to open and for the cabinet door to open with a handle also. So like I mentioned, there's so much more to consider than just the cabinet boxes. Just doing some quick math, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4.5 inches of extra fillers that I needed to account for. So I definitely recommend giving some wiggle room, especially with the washer and dryer. I'm gonna have to add even more space around it just to provide a buffer. I'm not sure what the required amount of space. I think it's 1 inch or 2 on each side of the washer and dryer. I'll have to look it up, but I highly recommend getting some tape and marking out your exact cabinet dimensions on the wall. One, so you can get a good visual of the layout, and also because you never know what you're going to run into. I've got outlets and plumbing and all sorts of things going on back here, and you don't want your cabinet starting or stopping on an outlet. You want to make sure you're giving plenty of room for your outlets and your plumbing fixtures. So just some things to keep in mind. Now, let's go to this side. So for this wall, I've got the 3 full height cabinets. I have a long filler piece that's gonna go against this wall here. Again, you don't want your cabinet to sit flat against the wall, so I've got a little filler piece there. I don't need anything in between my cabinets, so I'm good there. On the end of this cabinet, I'm going to secure that finished filler piece. I have that small scribe piece to fill any gaps here at the back wall, and then I will install the toe kick and the crown molding. Some other things to consider with cabinets are what's going inside your cabinets. I've got shelves that I need to install in all of these tall cabinets. I also have a few pull-out trays that will go in this cabinet because this is going to be kind of like extended pantry space where we can put some extra cans and food items. So I wanted some trays here. Otherwise, nothing special going on the inside of those cabinets. They're pretty much all shelving, but definitely something to think about too is all of your inside attachments and organizers. So I know I'm going to get a ton of questions on where I got the cabinets, and I'm gonna be super annoying and tell you that I'm not going to tell you where I got the cabinets. I bought them wholesale through a cabinet dealer, and they only sell to businesses basically, so I can't extend that offer to you guys, and it's super annoying. I'm sorry, but I will give you a few other options that are similar in style and cost. One is IKEA. I've done IKEA in the past in our kitchen and with a whole bunch of other projects. They have so many different colors and wood tones to go with, and they have great interior organizers. If that's something that is important to you, they have free design services online and in the store, so that is a great option if you need some more hands-on help. They will populate an entire shopping list of things that you need for parts, filler pieces, moldings, all the organizers, everything. So that's a really great option. Another option is the RTA store. I think it's just the rtastore.com. I see a lot of my DIYer friends using the RTA store cabinets. They come ready to assemble, or they do come already assembled if you have some more room in your budget. They also have a free design service where you can talk to someone and talk through your design. They can send out some samples, and that is another great option. So I will link in the description below some IKEA cabinets and some RTA cabinets that are similar to this style. Once again, I'm sorry I can't give you these exact cabinets. Okay, next up on the list is, I have no idea. I'm not quite ready mentally, physically to start installing cabinets quite yet. So I think I'm going to switch gears and assemble my IKEA shoe cabinet. Now that I have these cabinets in place and I can kind of see the layout of this area, I'm fairly certain the shoe cabinet is gonna work. So let's go get that assembled, and then I need to come up with a big shopping list of all of the trim and other supplies that I need to install cabinets. So I guess that's where we're going next. Okay, so one of the major features that I wanted to add to our laundry room was some shoe storage. We have a little bit of a shoe issue. A lot of our everyday slippers and tennis shoes are just roaming free around the house, and I think this will be the perfect solution. This is the IKEA Hemnes shoe cabinet. It's very narrow, it doesn't take up a ton of space, it fits a bunch of shoes, and it's really easy to just grab and go. So I think this will solve our shoe issue. It is very basic, so I'm going to add some trim and some paint and some new hardware. But first I want to get it assembled, get it in place, and then come up with a plan for the trim and other materials that I need. So let's get this assembled. So for me, there's a time and place to do custom versus IKEA, for example. This is one of those times where the IKEA just makes sense. I priced it out to do a little custom shoe cabinet, and it would have cost more to build it myself. So pushing the easy button, and I think especially since I can elevate it with some trim and some paint, it's a good move. Okay, so I have the IKEA shoe cabinet in place, and I think it looks great underneath this window. I'm planning to do a few things here. I think I'm going to raise this up and make it level with this windowsill, so we have a nice extended windowsill where we can leave keys, wallet, sunglasses, and things like that as we enter and exit the house. I will trim out the window to make it look nice and finished, and then underneath here, I'm gonna have to put a 1x board to cover the bottom, and then also layer on the base trim to match the base trim that's gonna go right here. I'm also going to add some little detail trim to these doors to dress them up a little bit, and then I picked up some new knobs as well. So this cabinet is about to get some major upgrades, but that will happen in the next video. Okay, so that's it for this video. In my next video, I'll be installing the cabinets and finishing up this shoe cabinet.
I also just ordered countertops, so hopefully those will come in next week and I can get to the countertops. I'll also have to install the toe kick and the crown molding and all of those little details, so that's gonna take me a little while. My dad is coming in town in a few weeks, so hopefully he can help me wrap up this project. I still have a lot to do, but we're finally picking up some momentum. So lots of progress to come, and I'll see you in the next video.